Hey YouTube, you ever wonder how tall you were at different ages? Or how you compare to your siblings, cousins, or parents in the height department? Well, my family, this was all made possible a few months ago when my dad gave me a door to our family lake house. This house was purchased by my grandparents in 1963 and was used by my dad's entire side of the family for vacations. My three younger siblings and I would have a ton of fun out on the water and always get our height measured on the door. So this isn't just any door, it's a time capsule of growth spurts and family memories. You see those marks? Each one tells the story of someone in my family, their height at a specific moment in time, etched right into the wood. So after I got my height measured on the door, it was always interesting to comb through the rest of the door looking for either my dad or my cousin's heights and compare against my own measurement. Now, as a 34-year-old data engineer, I saw something different in this door now. I saw a treasure trove of data waiting to be unleashed, and a much better way to visualize it. So I embarked on a mission to digitize and analyze every single height mark. It wasn't easy. Imagine trying to decipher a chicken scratch from decades ago, trying to determine which text went with which line, and battling Google Sheets limitations. But hey, family history is worth the fight, right? To start off, I knew I would first have to record each measurement in a spreadsheet. So I opened up a Google Sheet and put a few columns for name, date recorded, and height. I then needed to figure out how to accurately measure the height on the door. I knew that the door probably wasn't perfectly flush with the floor and probably had a bit of a gap underneath it when it was installed at my lake house. Luckily, there were a few places on the door where the height was actually recorded. I used these as my benchmark and slid some thin cardboard underneath the door to prop it up so my measuring tape aligned with the measurements on the door. Now that I could accurately measure the height of each line on the door, I started at the bottom and began to record each person's name, height, and date recorded. I then created another tab with everyone's birthdays. This would enable me to derive the exact age of the person on that date. I put this in numerical format as well as in years, months, and days with some fancy Excel formulas. As I made my way up the door, I quickly found some heights that did not have the date, but the age instead. When this happened, I recorded the number of years and months, and then used another formula to determine the date recorded. This wasn't as accurate as having an exact date, but I don't blame my relatives for not having the foresight to predict someone would be entering all of this data in Excel in the future. Inch by inch, I climbed the ladder of family history, 209 heights across 24 relatives. It was a marathon of deciphering scribbles and wrestling with dates, but with each entry, the list grew taller. Finally, I reached the peak, spreadsheet overflowing with data, and that's when the real fun began, transforming numbers into visualizations. Forget squinting at the door to compare ages, that's so 20th century. So I wanted to use a line chart for each person and put the age as my x-axis and the height as my y-axis. This way I can have an easy way to see the growth year by year and also compare it to others at the same time. So when I did this in Google Sheets, it was easy for me to add, one person's data. But when I would add the next person's data, such as, Kaylin's right here, it would get all messed up, right? And the reason being is because it doesn't allow different x-axes for each y-axis. So it's impossible to have both sets of data accurately displayed on the same chart. But I didn't let this deter me. I ended up finding out that in Excel, you could do this on what's called a scatter chart. So if I go here and select the data, you can see that for Shannon, the horizontal axis begins with the 0.44, which is corresponds to up here. And then when I go on Kaylin, it goes to a different series of numbers, 0.17, which is where Kaylin's age began. So I just went ahead and I changed the format of data to put it in a list by everyone's name, increasing, and then I added them all to this chart. So I'll select all now. Now you can see everyone's height by age. So then I just made a copy of that chart and did an adaptation here for just second generation, another one for third generation, one for just males, one for just females, and then this one was just me and my siblings. I was doing some quick analysis. It was no surprise that my brother, who's 6'5", And it was always been a monster, was bigger than me every step of the way throughout our ages. What was also interesting was just looking at me compared to my sister, Kaylin, and seeing that she was actually taller than me at 12 and 13 years old. Then obviously I surpassed her. And then just comparing me and my dad was also interesting. He was taller than me, around 11, then around 12, 13, I caught him and was taller than him. Then he caught back up to me at around 15, and then by 16 and a half, I was taller than him, and have been ever since. So it was pretty cool, just some of the kind of things that you can look at and compare, very quickly with this format. But the journey doesn't end here. My little guy Hayden just entered the world, and guess what? His first height mark's already etched on the door. And as Hayden grows, these charts will become even more fascinating, seeing how he stacks up to me and all of my other family members, and then being able to project out, how tall he's going to be. Overall, it was really a pain adding all the data and battling with Excel, but I'm really happy I did it. Now I have this saved forever, and I can share it with my family members to enjoy too. If you made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and please give me a like if you enjoyed, or subscribe for more content in the future. Bye!